Axolotls are members of the tiger-salamander species complex, and they evolved relatively recently compared to other salamander species in the region. They grow to be about 22 centimeters long and come in a variety of colors, and unlike almost all other salamanders, they are natural, meaning that keep juvenile characteristics into adulthood. They never undergo metamorphosis for them. This means they remain aquatic, never venturing into land. They keep their entire fat, hairy gills and tail fins, and they lack mobile eyelids. When they were first shipped for Mexico to promote French zoologist Auguste Romanel in the 1860, he was certain that the axolotls were the larvae of an unclothed type of salamander. That is until 6 months later, when his specimens were unsuccessfully reproduced, and because the adult state of animals is defined by sexual maturity, this reproducing axolotls had to be adults. Just how strange the axolotl was only beginning to be revealed. Overall, revealing juvenile trails seemed like a good but weird thing to happen in nature. At first glance, it looks like a huge space that has its growth permanently stagnant, but adult axolotls are one of the only salamanders to stay in their juvenile from other salamanders from the region can sometimes be found doing the same things, with some individuals staying in the water for their whole lives. At first, naturalists didn't know what to make of this phenomenon, but looking at where the salamanders led started to give a clue as to why this may be selected for in nature. All the Mexican lakes where they are found have things in common. First, they are large, velvety parliament bodies of water. At least they used to be before. Human inversion. Second, the lakes are surrounded by desert and in many cases are the only permanent body of water in the region. At third, all of these lakes historically did not have any large predatory fish. The salamanders in this lake sometimes or always fail to mature into adulthood because these lakes are only suitable habitat in the midst of a harsh and dry terrestrial environment. Salamanders normally metamorph to take advantage of both water and land, but only if the land is somewhat damp. But staying in the water forever is a technique that only works with no major predators lurking beneath the surface, along with carpine pH, temperature, and altitude requirements. These Mexican lakes just happen to completely fit the bill, giving the salamanders an uncanny ability to their wear. For a while, it was thought that the axolotl always fails to undergo metamorphosis, but is a non-tiny is a parliament feature of this biology. While this might be true most of the time, it isn't true all the time. As French geologist Duhamel learned in 1965 when he was given an even bigger surprise from these axolotl specimens. To this shock, the individuals in his care transformed into their adult land living from. They looked sort of like tiger salamanders, but different enough to still be considered their own uncared spaces. The Merrill searched the rest of his life on an explanation of why these axolotls transformed, but died before he ever got the answer. But in the early 19th, the transformation of the axolotls again came to the front of search insights. During his time, researchers were narrowing or terrorate gland tissue and a mechanism for amplification metamorphosis, and the axolotl was the most studied animal to clearly demonstrate its effect. When axolotls were fed terrorate tissue from livestock, the axolotls would metamorphose